chapter 4 is how to convert fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. Let's begin with turning a decimal into a fraction. To convert a decimal to a fraction, the number behind the decimal point is going to become your numerator. The ending place value becomes your denominator. Let's start with 0.68. I read that as 68 hundredths. That's going to give away what my fraction needs to look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 68, that's going to go into my numerator. So it ends in the hundredths place, so 100 becomes my denominator. So I have 68 over 100, which is also read as 68 hundredths. In 0.549, that would be read as 549 thousandths. So to change that into a fraction, I write my 549 in the numerator, and it ends in the thousandths place, so that would go in the denominator. My last one is the trickiest one. If I have 3.4, I would say that as 3 and 4 tenths. So the 3 is going to be the big number out in front. That's my whole number. The 4 is going to become my numerator, and it ends in the tenths place, so I get 3 and 4 tenths. Let's practice changing it the other direction now as well. I can also change from a fraction into a decimal. To do that, I need to divide the numerator by the denominator. Remember, the top number always goes in the house. So I need to think as the fraction bar as my division symbol right here. So right here in between the 3 and the 8, that's telling me to divide. So it's saying 3 divided by 8. I always put the top number in the house. So I need to see how many times can 8 go into 3. It can't, so I put my 0. I need not for it to bring up my decimal point. 8 can go into 30 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. Then I would need to subtract and bring down my 6. 8 can go into 60. Let's see here. I know my math next, so I know it can go into it 7 times. So I'm going to subtract my 56. This is going to keep going. You're not going to be able to see it, but I would keep my division going, and I would get 0.375. Let's do 1 or 2 more practices to make sure everyone understands this. So my first one here is going to be 1/8. Again, to do this, I'm going to turn this into a division problem because that's what this middle bar needs to do. I'm going to put my top number in the house, and I'm going to put the denominator out of the house. 8 can't go into 1, so I need to put a decimal point in my 0. 8 can go into 10 one time. 8 times 1, I'm going to get 8. Do my subtraction. I need to add another 0 because I need to keep going with this because I want a decimal for my answer. I don't want any remainders. 8 can go into 20 twice. 8 times 2 is 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. One more 0 I need, bring that down. 8 can go into 45 times. 8 times 5 is 40, so I end up with my remainder being 0. Now I know I'm done with the problem. My last thing is I need to bring my decimal point straight up into my answer. Now let's say that this problem was 3 and 1/8. What I would do with that is I'd pretend like I just had the 1/8 and I would do my division like I just did. And the end, I would have to add 3 to that. So I would get 3.125. This is how I convert fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions.